Okay, I just had to make a quick video on this this new tank I made. This is called the HR-1. It's a super duper looper super gooper fast tank. It looks kind of weird. It's pretty blocky. I called it HR because I called it for HotRod. Me and Nick decided to try to make the fastest tanks we can. And originally it was kind of a light tank kind of idea, but my power plant gave me a lot more leeway there. So this is a 40-ton tank that can drive over 60 miles an hour. It could probably drive significantly faster than that, but it goes about 50 in its normal mode, and then it can go over 60. I don't know exactly how fast it can go yet. In its boost mode, it's got a ridiculous power plant, 2 large gas turbine engines which require fuel. Those are linked to a CVT up here at the front, and those just go to a normal transfer case behind that. We've got an APHE ammo, 190 millimeters of penetration, and just a small charge in there. This is spec, so all this stuff, see turret ring, ammo in the turret, there's actually a hole that the gun comes through, which I like doing. And this turret is actually, this is a robust fucking turret here. Multiple pieces. This took a little while to make. Okay. So anyway, let's stick a speedometer on this thing because it doesn't output miles per hour at this time. So it's just easier to do it this way for now. I'm also going to debug these engines because sometimes for some reason one of the engines will come unwired or something. Okay. So first thing before we actually show how this thing performs, let's just take a look at the armor values really quick. Because, you know, you could probably make a tank faster than this, but this is a 40-ton tank. So you have frontal plate 75 millimeters, but it's sloped back at 75 degrees. So you get about 290 millimeters of armor effective. So that's pretty good. Lower plate, 85 millimeters. Less armor on the lower plate, but it is sloped back at 70 degrees. And 248 effective. The lower plate is not a big target. Plus, this is more of a novelty tank anyway. And then you got your turret armor, which I'm not aiming at the turret right now. Turret armor, 150 millimeters, slope back at 63 degrees. That's because I've actually been using big PHX things. These work really well for turrets. Just a heads up for anyone who builds tanks that watches my videos. In your PHX specialized folder, I don't even know if it'll be in here, but there's this prop, the 1x0505 triangle. It's PHX. There's nothing quite like this in S props, at least that I can find. It's got a nice, close to 60-degree angle, and it's big, so you can add a whole bunch of health to this thing. All the S props triangular prisms are like more like this size. So yeah, I really like this prop for turrets now, because it's got a lot of health, so it won't get blown off immediately, and it's angled well. So you got a couple of those. Just a nice legit turret design. So yeah, it's actually decently well armored. Not as well armored as some of my tanks, but my other tanks do not drive this fast. So let's take a look at how fast it goes. So the bonus of the gas turbine engines is that they have ridiculous power band. Like they can rev up to over 10,000 RPMs, and they have insane torque. So I was able with the CVT to crank the multiplier way up, giving it insane torque. It's got a 10,000 I guess divisor in the so the thing is dividing itself by 10,000 based on the speed, so it's got like ridiculous torque off the line, but then it still has 10,000 RPMs, so it can go really fast on these turbine engines. The main problem with the turbine engines is they require fuel, so you got to use a lot of space for that, but it's a big tank. Okay, so we're off right now. We're going 45 miles an hour, which doesn't seem that fast if you think about it in real life standards, but that's pretty damn fast for Gary's mod. We're going 55 miles an hour. We reached about 57 miles an hour by the end of the runway there, and that was not in the boost mode, I will add. The main reason there is a boost mode is because the tank is very difficult to control when in the boost mode. It takes the multiplier up to 20,000, so you get to use even more of those RPMs, and it's just ridiculous. Oops, I didn't start in the boost mode there. The boost mode's kind of awkward to activate because I ran out of keys. Okay, so we're off. Already going 40 miles an hour. We are going over 60 miles an hour. Made it up to about 64 miles an hour at the end of that track. See, it's like impossible to control at that speed. Like, maybe if you made really minute movements you could do it, but right now we're actually, our wheels are turning so fast that they don't have any traction. But yeah, this thing, like, other than the speed, the torque is ridiculous. Like, usually you drive a tank up one of these fucking things here, and you're going like, I don't know, like 5 miles an hour or something, but this thing just, we're slowing down a little bit, but we're still going 30 miles an hour up this. Get a little bit of air there. The control isn't quite set up yet, so it's a little bit difficult to drive. Whoa, I kind of torqued it into the hill there. If you can hear that, you can hear the RPMs of the engine massively rise every time I activate the boost. But yeah, the boost basically just raises the torque a whole bunch, which makes it easier to accelerate more. Because the RPMs on the engine are so ridiculous that, like, you just have it be whatever you want. Like, you just get massively more RPMs, and then that helps you climb to a higher speed range. I think this tank could probably go close to 100 miles an hour if I had a really flat space to go on. Though, having a tank that drives 100 miles an hour is, I don't know. Doesn't have a coax gun at this time, but it doesn't really need one for what it is. But this is, I like this. This is awesome. This thing is faster than, like, most of my cars. And that the fuel use actually isn't that high. Like, the, since most of the time it's running, like, closer to 3,000 RPMs, it doesn't actually use the fuel that fast. I expected it to use the fuel super fast, and I'd only be able to drive for, like, 2 minutes, but that's not what happens. As for the side armor on this thing, it's really bad. This is some of the worst side armor I've ever made. It's got a 15 millimeter track cover, and then it's got 40 millimeters of side armor. But all those have very low health to keep the weight down. So, yeah, you don't want to get attacked in the side with this tank. But, yeah, I don't really know how useful the novelty is on this tank, because most tank battles kind of end up being slugging matches, but it can definitely shift really fast. Anyway, I think that's all I really need to show you. This thing is awesome. I did not expect it to get going this fast. Whoa! See, that's the problem with using the boost mode right there. Jesus, that was violent. Have a good one.